That was an abrupt stop, wasn't it? Welcome. Welcome to our calendar expo for May 5th, 2025. I was thinking yesterday that credit goes to all of those who have been promoting this calendar for the last 10, 15 years that has brought it to the forefront of calendar support and understanding as bringing unity to the movement. I really feel that way. And I want to thank you for being a part of it. You made a big difference. You've been a real effective witness to the world for the truth of this calendar, the Zadokite calendar. And again, I thank you. I thank you also for sharing your wisdom with me. And I think that putting together a group like this is going to do even more for the ecumenical idea of sharing the calendar to all groups that will be open to it. I know there's been a lot of people changing over since they have learned more about it and since you've been active in promoting it. So I thank you. Well, we're going to get ready to go tonight, and we have Robert Villa on tonight. I hope I pronounced that right, Robert. And I'm just going to turn it over to him and let him go. So, Robert, I hope you're ready. I've got you on as co-host, so you'll be able to share if you want to. And there you go.
Shalom, I'm ready.
Good.
You're one of the first to get my last name right out of the gate.
Hey, what do you know?
Bravo. Bravo. All right, so I'm Robert Villa. I'm with Prophecy Vine, also Gospel Worth Dying For. And Sherry's my co-host. We are the two calendar heads. We're in the calendar team. So tonight, just let me say, I watched the other expo, the first one. And the three, Tina and the other two, man, those were awesome. And it's really good to see that we're getting really close. We're having a lot of unity and we're really, really close. And so the information I'm going to present tonight is going to be really in depth about the priestly courses and what we have found through 20 plus years of studying by Gina Sparks and Sarah Davis. They've uncovered some pretty amazing uh, keys to the calendar. So I'm going to show you this, and it's going to be an in-depth look at rebuilding the calendar scrolls that have the priestly courses. So I'll start sharing. All right. So what are the priestly courses and where are they found in the scriptures? Well, in First Chronicles chapter 24, and can you all see the screen, my slideshow?
Good. Looks good from here.
Okay. So, in First Chronicles 24, King David, under the inspiration of the Ruach, with Zadok and the son of Eleazar and Ahimelech of the sons of Ithamar, divided these priests of their office for their ministry. So it says, thus they were divided by lot, the one as the other, for they were officers of the sanctuary and officers of Elohim, both from the descendants of Eleazar and the descendants of Ithamar. Shemaiah, the son of Nathaniel, the scribe from the Levites, recorded them in the presence of the king, the princes, Zadok, the priest, Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, and the heads of the fathers' households of the priests and of the Levites. One father's household taken for Eleazar and one taken from Ithamar. So as we see, we have these 24 priests listed from 1 to 24. And these guys were going to be heading up the new temple that was going to be built. And so verse 19 says, "These were their offices for their ministry when they came in to the house of Yahweh, according to the ordinance given to them through Aaron their father, just as Yahweh Elohim of Yisrael had commanded him." So this was a commandment to put them in this office. Now let's just check out their names to see if there's anything um, prophetic. I'm going to read their name meanings row by row. Yahweh pleads our cause. Yahweh does see and know, and will destroy the barley grains. Yahweh is king, and his right hand shall be pierced. Yahweh is the father of Yahushua. Yahuwah dwells in him, and through him Elohim will restore. Yahweh will raise up the bridal canopy from the seed of the father. Strength will be recovered, and comfort for those who grieve. He will say to the swine, the unclean, separate and disunite. For Yahweh has opened wide and set the captive free. Elohim is our strength, and Yah will establish us as a pillar in his Hekal. The reward for the firstborn, first fruits. For Yahweh has drawn us out of the depths and delivered us. Yah has gathered us and rescued us by flight. As we can see, their names have prophetic meaning. Also, the priestly courses can be found in Luke chapter 1, 5, 6, and 8, and 9, where it says, "In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zacharias, of the division of Abiah, and he had a wife from the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. They were both righteous in the sight of Elohim, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and requirements of Yahweh. Now it happened that while he was performing his priestly service before Elohim at the appointed order of his division, according to the custom of the priestly office, he was chosen by lot to enter the temple of Yahweh and burn incense." So again, from King David all the way to Messiah's time, we still see this priestly office, the courses still running. And so the calendar scrolls like 4Q319, they represent a calendar system based on the weekly rotation of the 24 priestly courses during a 6-year period and constructed into 6 consecutive jubilees, which is 294 years. And they contain the so-called Ot, or signs of the moon. The sign, which reoccurs in every 3 years, probably identifies the years in which the shorter lunar year of 354 days is supplemented by means of the intercalation of an extra month of 30 days to equal the length of 3 solar years of 300, I'm sorry, of 364 days each. Paleographically, the manuscript is dated to the first half of the 1st century BCE, and that comes from the Giza Vermes Complete Dead Sea Scrolls. So the word ot is signs, and it means a signal as a flag, a beacon, monument, omen, prodigy, or evidence. And it first appears in Genesis 1:14, where it says, "Then Elohim said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs," that's the Ot, "and for seasons and for days." Also Genesis 9:13, "I set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a sign," Ot, "of a covenant between me and the earth." And Exodus 31:13, "But as for you, speak to the sons of Yashrael, saying, you shall surely observe my Sabbaths, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh who sanctifies you." Also, we should become familiar with the word duk or dukkah. That's also located in the calendar scrolls. And there's what it says is, "On the first day, i.e., Sunday of the week of Yediah, on the 12th day of it, the 7th month of the first year, it is full." So the word duk, many scholars have translated that as a full moon, and it is up for debate, but for all intents and purposes, we're using it as full moon in this presentation. and for our research. And it says on the second of Abia, the 25th of the eighth month, and a new moon on the third. So let's get into it and let's rebuild this calendar from scratch. And I need to stress the beginning of it because if you get the first month wrong, then your whole calendar is going to be wrong. So um, I need to diminish that right there. Okay, that works. All right. So just taking a blank um, calendar, what we did is we took scroll fragments like 4Q319, where it says, it's light on the fourth day of the week, the creation, in the fourth day, Gamul. The sign or oat of Shechaniah in the fourth year, the sign of Gamul in the year of release. You also have scrolls like 4Q320 to become visible from the east and shine in the center of the sky at the base of the vault from evening to morning on the fourth day, i.e., Wednesday, of the week of the sons of Gamul in the first month on the first year. And then to show it from the east and to cause it to shine in the middle of heaven in the foundation of the creation from evening till morning, there is full moon. That's Duk. And also on the fourth day in the week, the sons of Gamul on the first month of the first year. So with this information, we decided to look for all of these signs in the calendar, which is going to be, we're looking for a full moon, day 4, and an equinox event. Well, that was found in March of 2019 on the 20th. We had a full moon, we had the equinox event, and we were on day 4. So that lines up perfectly for the Zadokite calendar. And so that's how we began. So we just went ahead and stuck Gamul as the beginning, as these 3 scroll fragments told us. So we have now Gamul, and now all you have to do is say, well, who is next in the lineup? I'm going to skip this one, and that would be Deliah. And now we have our first 2 priests, Gamul heading the year, Deliah next, and now Messiah. He comes in right after Deliah. And Yehorib is next. And now Yediah. And just like that, we have found the first year of the priestly courses in the first month. And it's that simple, just keeping these guys in order and continuing on. And now what we can do is we can check some other scroll fragments. So we know about Gamul being on the first Wednesday. Well, let's check 4Q320. The fifth of the week of Yediah corresponds to the 29th day of the lunar month and falls on the 30th of the first month. So if we go to the 5th day of the week, right here, we go down and he is on the 30th of the first month. So we have 2 confirming scroll fragments saying that this year 1 begins this way. And we've got our priest in the correct order. And also the full moon, if you count down to this moon phase, he is on the 29th day. And that's another thing that we found very interesting is that all these moon phases line up 99.8%. There are some anomalies, but I think that's just because of the way we count. I think they had a better system of counting than we did. So I think we just went over that one. Month 2, simply keeping the order of priestly courses. 4Q320 says the Shabbat of Hakoz corresponds to the 30th, that would be the lunar, on the 30th of the second. So sure enough, we have the Shabbat and we have Hakoz down here on the 30th of the second. So month 2 lines up perfect. Month 3, on the first day in the week of Eliashib corresponds to the 29th day of the lunar month which falls on the 29th day of the third solar month. So we have our third day, day one. Eliashib is definitely where he's supposed to be. So now we have three matches for year one. Let's continue. On the third day in the week of Bilgah, corresponding to the 30th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 28th day in the fourth solar month. So again, coming to the third day, we're going to go down here and we're going to find Bilgah on the 28th of the solar month. And that is correct. We're just going to continue building this calendar. On the fourth day in the week of Petahiah, corresponding to the 29th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 27th day in the fifth solar month. Fourth day, 27th of the fifth solar month, and we definitely have Petahiah. Month six, on the sixth day in the week of Deliah, corresponding to the 30th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 27th day in the sixth solar month. Day 6 of the week, coming down to the 27th, we have Deliah, which is what our scroll fragment tells us. Halfway through. On the Shabbat in the week of Seorim, corresponding to the 29th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 25th day in the seventh solar month. We have our Shabbat, we have Seorim, and he is on the 25th day. So these priestly courses are doing well, keeping us on track. On the second day in the week of Abia, corresponding to the 30th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 25th day in the eighth solar month. So month 8, day 2 of our week, day 25, we find Abia in service. This is good. For month 9, we have on the third day in the week of Yakin, corresponding to the 29th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 24th day in the ninth solar month. Ninth month, third day, Yakin is on the 24th day. Now, on the fifth day in the week of Immer, corresponding to the 30th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 23rd day in the 10th solar month. So we have our day 5, Immer, on day 23. Perfect. And month 11, on the sixth day in the week of Yehezekiel, corresponding to the 29th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 22nd day in the 11th solar month. Day 6 of the week, Yehezekiel, on the 22nd day of the 11th solar month. Again, that is correct. And then month 12. On the first day in the week of Jehoreb, corresponding to the 30th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 22nd day in the 12th solar month. So we have our first day of the week, Yehoreb, and the 22nd of the 12th solar month. So our year one is matched up perfectly with our priestly courses, and we're going to just do a quick little recap on that. Genesis 1, the heavenly luminaries, which are the signs for the calendar, were created and set in motion on day 4. That is why the calendar must begin on day 4, Wednesday. Also, the sun, being referred to as the greater luminary, gives it preeminence and leadership status over the calendrical luminaries, not the moon or the stars. And also, I strongly believe that the moon was created in the full moon phase. And not only was it full, but it was most likely in the state of what we call a supermoon. So, using the starting point given in the above mentioned Dead Sea Scrolls, we started the calendar on day 4 with an equinox, Gamul in service of that week with the oat or sign of the full moon, which mimics the original creation week scenario. We then simply followed the order of the priestly courses given in 1 Chronicles 24 and installed the next priestly family after Gamul, number 22, serves 1 week, which was Deliah, number 23. After Deliah serves for a week, the family of Maaziah, 24, comes in to serve. And then the order starts over again with number one being Jehoram. This one priest, 1 week pattern is a perpetual cycle for eternity. And our calendar now has the sun, moon, stars, and priestly courses in the correct order. So this is the beginning of another 294-year cycle where the priestly courses will count out 6 years and then start over with year one, while also operating within the 7 year Shemitah and Jubilee cycles. But do keep in mind, the priestly courses operate independently. So we have a wheel within a wheel system. Both of these cycles take 294 years to line up. 294 divided by 6 equals 49, and 294 divided by 7 equals 42. Both numbers, 42 and 49, are divisible by 7. Both numbers have prophetic implications. What you'll find out, like we did, is the priests never intercalated within the 6 years of the courses, meaning from year 1 to 6, not even one day was intercalated. The last presentation will show you how intercalation was accomplished. So I'm going to bring you back to year 1, month 12, just to show you how we ended. We have Yediah in service the last week. That's day 364. And then we have our equinox over here on day 5. Now, we're going to build calendar year number 2 of the 6 year rotation. So starting out with a blank calendar here, we're just going to remember we left off right here with Yediah. We're going to plug Yediah right back in here. And here's the list of the courses. And just plot them right in. And we're going to plot Harim and Se'orim, Malkiyah, and Miamin. Now we have our head of the year for year 2 established. And month 2, we're just followed the order over here. And month 2 builds out easily, continuing just to lay in the priestly courses 30, 30, 31. Just continuing the cycle of courses. The calendars become really easy to build out if you just continue plugging in the courses. And as you can see, we're in month 7 and we're just going through the rotation. Month 8, 9, 10. And I haven't put any dates or anything on here just yet, just to show you we're laying in the priestly courses. And there's year 2 fully built out. Sorry that it's so small, but it's hard to get a full calendar on one screen. But that's the full year. All right, now let's see if we got it right per the Dead Sea Scrolls. Mishmarot F 4Q328 says in the second, that's meaning the second year, Yediah is going to head the year, and Mishmarot B 4Q321, Yediah, and fragment 5, the first month begins in the week of Yediah. So we have that correct here. And now we can also check some other witnesses. In the week of Se'orim is the Passover. In the week of Miamin is the waving of the sheaf. So the first month, 14th day, we all know that's Passover. So Se'orim is here, and we know that's correct now. And Miamin is down here at the waving of the sheaf on the Shabbat after the feast. We also have another witness that says the second year on the second day in the week of Malkiyah, corresponding to the 29th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 20th day of the first solar month. So we just need to come to the second day, go down to Malkiyah, and see that he is correctly on that correct date per the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, let's see if month 2 yields the same results. Mishmarot B 4Q321. The second month begins in the week of Miamin. In the week of Abia is the second Passover. So the second month right here, beginning with Miamin, is correct. The 14th day of the second month, Abia, that is correct. We have another witness to that. The second year on the fifth day in the week of Abia, the second Passover, excuse me. So again, fifth day, Abia has the Passover. And we have on the fourth day in the week of Yeshua, corresponding to the 30th day of the lunar month, which falls on the 20th day in the second solar month. So, second solar month, Yeshua is on the 20th day. So, that is correct. Month three, Mishmarot B 4Q321 says the third month begins in the week of Eliashib, and in the week of Hupa is the Feast of Weeks. So, Eliashib is beginning our third month, like it says. And Hupa is right here on 315. That's the Feast of Weeks. Also, on the fifth day in the week of Hupa, which is on the 19th day in the third month. So, the fifth day of the week, Hupa, and the 19th. So, that is correct. Year two is looking good. Mishmarot B 4Q321 says the fourth month begins in the week of Bilga. So, we have Bilga in the correct month, and he's heading it. The second year, and the new moon is on the first day in the week of Immer, which is on the fifth day in the fourth month. So we have on the first day, Immer, the fifth day of the fourth month. That's correct. Also on the Shabbat in the week of Pistates, which is on the 18th day in the fourth month. Come to the Shabbat, we have Pistates, and he is on the 18th day. Again, that's correct. For month five, it says the fifth month begins in the week of Petahiyah. Well, we have Petahiyah heading up month five, so that looks good. Also, it says on the first day in the week of Gamul, which is on the 17th day in the fifth month. We have the first day of the week, Gamul, 17th day, fifth month. All is looking good. Also, and the new moon is on the second day in the week of Yehezekiel, which is on the fourth day in the fifth month. So we have Yehezekiel, fourth day, fifth month. Again, looking good. Now, month six begins in the week of Ma'aziah. And look, we have Ma'aziah in service heading that month. Also, on the third day in the week of Yediah, which is on the 17th day in the sixth month. So, third day of the week, Yediah, 17th day. Absolutely correct. And the new moon is on the fourth day in the week of Ma'aziah, which is on the fourth day in the sixth month. So we have the fourth day of the week, Ma'aziah, and the fourth day of the sixth month. Halfway through and looking good for year two. Mishmarot B 4Q321. The seventh month begins in the week of Se'orim. In the week of Se'orim is the day of memorial. In the week of Malkiyah is the Day of Atonement. In the week of Miyamin is the Feast of Tabernacles. So that's all correct. We have Se'orim beginning the month. Also, the week of Memorial or Feast of Trumpets, first day of the seventh month is correct. We have Malkiyah right here on the Day of Atonement, the ninth and the 10th of the seventh month. And then Feast of Tabernacles, Miyamin, right there, just like it tells us. Also, on the fourth day in the week of Miyamin is the 15th day in the 17th month. So another hit for Miyamin on the 15th day. In month eight, it says, for the second year, the eighth month begins in the week of Abia. And that is correct here. And the new moon is on the Shabbat in Abia, which is on the second day in the eighth month. So we have Shabbat and we have Abia in service right here. On the sixth day in the week of Shechaniah, which is on the 15th day in the eighth month. So sixth day of the week, Shechaniah, 15th day of the month. Year two is looking good. For the ninth month, it's going to begin in the week of Hupa. And that is true right here. Hupa is heading the ninth. The second year on the Shabbat in the 8th of Bilga, which is on the 14th day in the ninth month. So Shabbat here, Bilga on the 14th. And it says, and the second new moon is on the third day in the week of Hezir, which is on the 31st in the ninth month. So third day, Hezir, 31 of the ninth month. So the priestly courses are doing their job. They're keeping us on track. The 10th month begins in the week of Hezir. Well, that is a true statement because we have day one, Hezir, the second day in the week of Petahiah, which is on the 13th day in the 10th month. Second day, Petahiah, 13th month. And the new moon is on the fourth day in the week of Yakin, which is on the 29th day of the 10th month. Fourth day of the week, 29th day, and we have Yakin. Month 10 is good. Let's go to 11. The 11th month begins in the week of Yakin. That's true. On the third day in the week of Deliah, which is on the 12th day in the 11th month. So we have third day, Deliah, 12th day of the 11th month. And the new moon is on the 6th day in the week of Yehoreb, which is on the 29th day in the 11th month. Sixth day, we have the 29th day of the 11th month and Yehoreb in service. And now month 12. The 12th month begins in the week of Yediah. That's a true statement here for our calendar build. The 5th day in the week of Harim, which is on the 12th day of the 12th month. 5th day, week of Harim, 12th day, 12th month. And the new moon is on the Shabbat in the week of Miyamin, which is on the 28th day in the 12th month. So we have the Shabbat, 28th day, Miyamin. So what we have is between year one and two, there were no non-days, divider days, or days out of time. There were 0 days intercalated. It was 364 and no more. They just kept the rotation going. So in 2020, the Zadok priestly calendar ended on day 3, but the equinox wasn't until day 5. What's going on here? I thought we were supposed to chase the sun around and jump up to the next week. But as we see, they didn't do that. So let's take a closer look at how we started year 2. So they say the day before the equinox is still the winter season. So you can't start on the day before an equinox. And there's no way you can ever start the new year while it's in the dead of winter, right over here on this side of the equinox. So they say the day after the equinox is spring, and suddenly now it's just a drastic change, and flowers are blooming, and um, now we're instead of winter, we've crossed into spring just because of an equinox event. So we'll just intercalate up to the next week and be in correct season. But is this what the sons of Zadok did? Well, let's entertain the idea of moving the year ahead of the equinox in light of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So we're going to bump the year up since the equinox was back here. Remember, our year ended here. So now we push the year up to get onto that Wednesday ahead of the equinox, like most people do. Well, with the priestly courses in order, let's see what happens. Remember, Mishmarot F 4Q328 says in the second year, Yediah heads the year. Also, 321 says Yediah in the second year. It says the first month begins in the week of Yediah. But as you see, now the year begins in Harim. And also, in the week of Seorim is the Passover. Well, now the 14th day is down here, and that's been put into Malkiah's court. So that doesn't jive with what the Dead Sea Scrolls have said. And Miyamim is the waving of the sheaf. Well, it's no longer Miyamim in the waving of the sheaf. It's been pushed down further. As we see, if you jump and push the year ahead, you're going to have the wrong priest heading the year, which can be your that's your correcting mechanism. If you start a year in Harim, that's not a priest who's supposed to head a year up. And let's go to month two and see what happens. So remember, we pushed the year up, so we'll push it up for month two and see what happens. Well, Mishmarot B said 4Q32-1 says the second month begins in the week of Miyamin. Well, that's no longer true. The second month now begins in Hakos, which that's not what the sons of Zadok told us to do. Also, the second Passover was Miyamin, but now it's been pushed to Yeshua. So that's not what these guys did. And just to recap that year two build, just by holding true to the order of the priestly courses in year number two, 2020, we observe the following true statements. Every day in the week matched to what the Dead Sea Scrolls said it should. Every day in the month matched to what the Dead Sea Scrolls said it should. Every feast day in the year matched to what the Dead Sea Scrolls said it should. And every moon phase in the year matched to what the Dead Sea Scrolls said it should. There was a slight anomaly in month nine, but I think that's due to our counting, the way we count, and the moon apps we're using. So, some insightful observations for that. The sons of Zadok did not wait until the next week after the equinox to start the year, even though the equinox was on day 5. The year was 364 and no more, with 52 weeks. The sons of Zadok did not intercalate between year 1 and 2 of the priestly cycles. There were no non-days, divider days, or days out of time, and the Shabbat did not float throughout the week. And I also believe that these Dead Sea Scrolls and these calendar builds are a nail in the coffin for the floating Shabbat people. So now, here's year 2 and year 3, and we're just going to look. Year 2 ends with Miyamin. So we just begin year 3 with Miyamin and then continue the priestly courses like we've done in the earlier builds. Let's see if we got that right per the Dead Sea Scrolls. Zadokite Priest Calendar, year 3 of the 6-year rotation. Here's our 6 guys who are heading up that first month, and let's see if that's true to what the Dead Sea Scrolls say. Mishmarot F, 4Q through 28 says, in the third year, Miyamin. In the first month begins in the week of Miyamin, and so that is true. Miyamin is heading up that third year. The third year, the first month on the 6th day in the week of Hakos is the 10th day in the first month. So, um, third year, first month, 6th day, Hakos is on the 10th day. So it's looking like we got year 3 right. Fragment 4Q321, in the week of Abia is the Passover. Well, first month, 14th day, Abia, that is the Passover. Also, in the week of Shechaniah is the waving of the sheaf. And we all know that the Shabbat after the feast is that Sunday is the waving of the sheaf, and that is correct. But we're going to go ahead and since our equinox was way up here, we'll push the year and see what happens when we try to chase that equinox around and push the year up. As you can see, the year no longer begins with Miyamin like the Dead Sea Scrolls told us to. Also, day 6, the week of Hakos, the 10th day. Well, that's day 6. The 10th day is now Abia. So it just completely destroys the rotation and the order of operations that they've left for us when you're pushing the year up. We're just going to leave the years um, straight with no intercalation. And if you get the first month right, then the 12th month ought to be right too. So let's look at the 12th month of that third year. 12th month begins in the week of Miamin. Well, we have that right here on the second day in the week of Miamin, which is on the second day in the 12th month. So second day, Miamin, second day of the 12th month. And this is year 3 ending and year 4 beginning. Again, we just take that row of priests, put them right in the head of the year, and we don't intercalate. Let's see if it is true, because here's year 4 of the priestly courses, and here are the scroll fragments. They say in the 4th year, Shechaniah. Shechaniah is heading up the 4th year. Also, on the 4th day in the week of Shechaniah, which is on the 1st day in the 1st month. So 4th day, Shechaniah, 1st day, 1st month. So year 4 is looking pretty good. The 1st month begins in the week of Shechaniah. That's true. And on the 3rd day in the week of Yakim is the Passover. 3rd day of the week, Yakim, Passover. And so since our equinox was here, we're just going to go ahead and push the year up. I know people don't do this every time, but just to entertain the practice, this is what happens when you push the dates up and you try to jump ahead of the equinox. Now, instead of Shechaniah heading the year, Eliashib heads the year. Now, instead of Yakin having the Passover, Hupa has the Passover. As you can see, it's becoming clear, or should be becoming clear, the priestly courses are keeping us on track. Now, here's how the 4th year ended with Yeshebab. We're going to plot Yeshebab right here at the beginning of the 5th year and check it out. Here's the 5th year. It says the 1st month begins in the week of Yeshebab. All right, well, we're doing good. The 3rd day in the week of Immer is the Passover. 3rd day of the week, Immer on the Passover. On the 1st day of the week, bestates the waving of the sheaf. And that is correct. Bestates is waving the sheaf. On the 5th day in the week, bestates, which is on the 30th day of the 1st month. And we have 5th day of the week, bestates, 30th of the 1st month. And again, just showing you what happens when you push a year. You totally destroy what the Zadok priest told you to do. And the 12th month, since we got the 1st month right, let's see if the priestly courses kept us on track. Fragment 4Q321 says the 12th month begins in the week of Yeshebab. 12th month, beginning in Yeshebab. So that means we got the 5th year right. So we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years correct. Now the 6th year ends in Pistates, and we're just going to put him right here because we're not going to break the cycle. The Dead Sea Scrolls tell us that in year 6, Pistates will head the year, and that's correct. The 1st month begins in the week of Pistates, also correct. The 3rd day in the week of Yehezekel is the Passover. So the 3rd day of the week, Yehezekel and the Passover. And then we have the 1st day in the week of Gamul, waving of the sheaf. And as we can see, that's all correct. 1st month, year 6, looks good. So like I said, if you get the 1st month right, you're going to get the 12th month right because the priestly courses are just a cycle. The 12th month begins in the week of Pistates. That is correct. And 4Q321 says on the 2nd day in the week of Pistates, which is on the 2nd day in the 12th month. So the 2nd day, day 2 of the 12th month, you have Pistates. So this year, on March 11th, the Zadok priestly calendar ended right here on a day 3, a Tuesday. Gamul was the priest who was serving in the year that came to, as the year came to a close. Gamul, this is the end of the 6th year. So Gamul must start the year, but not work more than the rest of the priestly families. So this is where at the end of the sixth year, we believe that the week, 1 week, 7 days of intercalation is needed. So we believe all the families came in just like during the feast days, when you'd have an excess of people coming from all the outskirts. They would need extra priests in service to help with the offerings. We believe right now all the priests came in for 7 days of the week of intercalation, and now Gamul is standalone again at the end. So, from what I've been studying out and learning, um, you have the sun, which has its own cycle. You have the moon, her own cycle, and you have the stars. They all have their own cycle, and you have the Most High up here, and all these markers, these oats, are below him, and they have their own cycle. But there is an aspect of the calendar that's closest to him, and it's actually surrounding him. I believe that Revelation 4, 1 through 4 is telling us who these are. So it says, After these things I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven, and the first voice which I heard, like the sound of a trumpet speaking with me, said, Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after these things. Immediately I was in the Ruach, and behold, a throne was standing in heaven, and one sitting on the throne, and he who was sitting was like a jasper stone and a sardis in appearance. And there was a rainbow around the throne, like an emerald in appearance. Around the throne were 24 thrones, and upon the thrones I saw 24 elders, sitting clothed in white garments, and gold crowns on their head. I believe these 24 priestly courses are these 24 elders that surround the throne. That is just something that we've seen in the scriptures of Revelation, and no one could ever really tell you who the 24 elders were. Well, now we see these 24 priestly courses are a facet, a very important facet of the calendar. And people will tell us that, well, these don't belong in the calendar because they came in David's time. But as we know, the tabernacle in the Shamaim is in the one below. The one below was a copy and a shadow of the one above. And scriptures like Exodus 25:40 says, See that you make them after the pattern for them which was shown to you on the mountain. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to its plan, which has been shown in the mountain. You shall make it hollow with planks, as it was shown to you in the mountain. So they shall make it. So they were instructed to keep this pattern perfect. Now this was the workmanship of the lampstands, hammered work of gold, from its base to its flowers. It was hammered work, according to the pattern which Yahweh had shown Moshe. So he made the lampstand according to the pattern. And here's another one, but my view is kind of being blocked. Uh, so First Chronicles 28, 11, 13, and 19. Then David gave to his son Solomon the plan, also the divisions of the priests and the Levites, and for all the work of service in the house of Yahweh. All this, said David, Yahweh made me understand in writing by his hand on me. So these priestly courses were given to David by Yahweh for a reason. And this one from Acts is also just saying the tabernacle of testimony was a copy and a shadow. So each year is supposed to look like this. Year one, Gamul should be the first priest. Year two, Yediah should be the next. Miamin, the third, the fourth, the fifth. These are what your year should look like. If these guys aren't heading up a year for you, then something is off and your calendar is wrong. And that's what I'm saying. They're a correcting mechanism. They're they can show you if you're wrong. And the same pattern is for the Jubilees. Gamul heads a Jubilee. Yediah, Miamin. It's the same pattern, not only for the head of the years, the 6 years, but then the Jubilee. It's just an amazing pattern. Um, so also, I believe the luminaries, they're given to us for signs, they're oaths, but I don't think they are the calendar since they have their own cycle. The sun, yes, it is a great luminary for counting days. It cannot be blocked out. No matter how thunderous of a storm you got going, you will know it's a day. You can use it as a counter. So I don't think the luminaries are the calendar, but they are for the calendar. It's kind of like if you're on a road trip and you see a sign. Uh, I live by Dallas, so let's use Dallas. So I'm driving, it says Dallas, 40 miles. Well, I complete the course, and that was my sign. I complete my 40 miles. Now I have a sign that says, Welcome to Dallas. Well, that sign is not the city, but the sign is telling me that I'm in the city. I'm there. That's what I believe the purpose of the luminaries are. And I think the priests show us that because they didn't care where the equinox was. They just kept the calendar 364 and no more. Now, the 7 day intercalation, that's our proposal. And lo and behold, this year it worked. We ended our calendar on the 11th of March and we began back up on the 19th. Me, myself, I marked the straight line day on the 19th. I have a brother in Jacksonville, Florida. He had an armillary out. He did the same thing. So the calendar counted out perfectly. And then with the 7 years of intercalation, started back up. Um, and also I know on I've heard people say that these lampstands could be turned. I don't know where it comes from, if it's folklore, if it comes from Josephus or something. But perhaps could they have been turned for whatever priest was in service? Like let's say year one, they turned it, and that's how they knew Gamul started it, and that means Yediah, you're next, and Miamin. That's just something I'm putting forward. Um, and yeah, that is the end of the presentation, and now we'll just take questions.
Great presentation, first of all. Got to say that that brings a number of things to my mind regarding the problems that I've had working through the calendar. I have a couple of questions. The first is, I was looking at these fragments just last week, and I think it was the Gaze of Ramesh version. Pretty sure it was, but there were the lacunae had not been filled in. Now, where did you get your words to put in where there are empty spaces in the lacunae? Did you work that out?
No,
Did
that
you
came.
work it out?
I have three different fragments or Dead Sea Scrolls that I work out of,
Uh-huh.
and one of them, and these ones are PDFs. This one's a Giza Vermes, comes from Penguin Books.
Gaze of
Uh,
Ramesh,
yep, it's the complete Dead Sea Scrolls in English,
right?
revised, and then there's another one, it's like a 1400 page, the Dead Sea Scrolls Study Edition, the Brill, and it's Florentino Garcia Martinez, Ebert, and I can't pronounce the last name, but yeah, that one's like a 1400 page document.
So you're saying that those lacunae were filled in by the translator, right?
Right.
Okay. Just wondered, I thought if it were possible, I think probably a layperson could fill those in if they were very astute when it comes to this type of literature. And I would
Mhm.
just want to find out if that had happened. or not. And so we've got something reliable that's in there rather than something just to put in to be to fulfill somebody else's idea. Thank you, Robert. Are there any other questions?
Sorry, Jackson, just a quick question. I've come in at 9 p.m. Does not the meeting start at 9 p.m.?
Eight, 8 o'clock. But we'll put this on and you'll be able to check the first hour out.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right, Norman.
I'm sorry I missed that, but I'll watch it later on. Thank you.
Well, I can give him the short version. It's basically after reconstructing all 6 years of the priestly courses, we found that there's no intercalation from year one all the way to year six. So 0 days intercalated. The
Correct.
Yep, and so we added a week after the 6 years is over. And so what is that? That's also year seven. What is year seven? It's the Shemitah. So the land rests, and Yah even gives the calendar a rest. He lets time rest.
So we've got a coordination of the astronomical, the textual, and the Mishmarot here all together. That's astounding. Great. That's going to help me and I'm sure a lot of other people. Any other questions?
Yes. Hey, Robert. This is Laura. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am. Shalom.
Hello, shalom. Dur Near the beginning of your presentation, you spoke about the moon being behind, and after 3 years, another month was added. I guess that means we just realized that with 30 days behind, it's the moon month that gets the extra month. When you say extra month, I've got to play some gymnastics in my head to know if you're talking about a real calendar month or just the lunar progress.
Yes, sorry, that is for the lunar. That's not for the Zadok calendar.
Good, good. Thank you. Yeah, because we come from the sliver sighting world. And of course, we used to always talk about a 13th month.
Mhm.
And so I just have to switch gears and realize you're not talking about a real month. You're talking about the lunar cycle months.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I make a comment?
No. Of course you can. Sure.
Shalom, Jackson.
Uh,
So, yes, we've been watching from 20, way before even 2019, as you probably remember. But we watched the luminaries and tracked them as we were watching the priestly courses and studying the Dead Sea Scrolls for those 6 years. And the lineup was amazing. And that's the thing that we needed to do, is to find the 6 years that were recorded in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Even though they may have put brackets and put some words in there, we had to make sure that those were correct. And they did an amazing job of piecing those together. And I believe it's by the Spirit of Yah that did that, because it actually fit in the sun, moon, and stars as we saw it happening. So
Incredible.
it is a good witness to their scholarship. Yeah, I know people want to discard it and say, oh, they put things in brackets, so you can't trust that. But if you were ones like us, me and Sarah, that watched them and tracked them and recorded and did all that when we started in 2007, you know. Um, so it took a lot of years, but we finally found the 6 years in the heavens that matched with what they had left over 2,000 years ago.
So
And
that
we're
was
seeing,
pretty much just you had to run it out until you found.
Exactly.
You found it. There was no indication of what, of course, it's a whole different year plan here.
We worked on it until, yes, it matched.
Great.
And we had, for a long time, we only had the 3 years. And then actually this past year, we put together the last 3 years, and it's just like Robert said, it's plug and play, and they did an amazing job. And I've got actually 4 different Dead Sea Scroll copies, and people think that they each may say something different, but that is not the truth. If you read them correctly, they're all witnessing to the same thing.
Super.
And the witness is in the sky, not on the earth. The witness is in the sky, and only y'all can create that.
And these calendar scrolls are operating like prophecy is another thing we saw, because with all the searching for the correct year that they've been doing, and then to finally have it in 2019, it looks a whole lot like this is a prophetic calendar that they were kind of just throwing the ball way up into the future, saying if you're a generation that sees these signs on this day, then you can be back in line with year one of our courses, and you'll have the calendar back.
A
I
sign
have a
of the
question,
time.
Robert. Sorry, this is Laura. Can I ask
Yes.
another question?
Sure.
Is it every 200, well, is it every 6 years that Gamul is again at the beginning of the year?
Yes, it's a 6 year rotation.
So what occurs at the 294 years?
That's the end of the 6 year Jubilee cycles, and it comes back to Gamul.
And what is significant about a 6-year Jubilee cycle?
Um,
This
Gina, you want to answer that?
Sure. So the 6 year Jubilee cycle, as he presented in his priest standing up there, run the same every Jubilee cycle has the same priestly one that heads up the 6 year. And
Mhm.
so it's a rotation within a rotation, and you can see uh, that every 6 years they never get out of order in the whole 294 years. And it starts back over with Gamal again. And they did it in sets of 294 years.
So the 6 year Jubilee cycles look just like the 6 year priestly cycles within a Jubilee itself.
With the 6 years of priestly cycles rotating continuously in those 294 years.
And do we think that at the end of each 6 years, we intercalate a week?
Yes.
And of course, that puts Gamul back at the head of the year.
Correct.
So, do we know how far we are from creation?
I'll let Gina
What,
take that.
yeah, what year are we in from
So
creation?
I do have on the website, and I did take those 6 years just as the Dead Sea Scrolls puts them out, because you can go at list Shechaniah and Gamal in the years that they are in throughout the whole 294 years. So I took those sets of Jubilee years just as they have put them, and went back into time and went back and actually traced it to the book of Jubilees and matched it up with the book of Jubilees when Moshe was told to return back to Egypt, and then to creation. And I don't have the paper. We just had a Zoom meeting on that, but the end of this Jubilee will end in 2068. And I think we have like just 150 or 60 years. I have to get the paperwork out. I don't have it right here. Left for the 6,000 years to be up. if that's the
Oh,
question you're asking.
yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yes, and as like this year 2025, I believe, is the 70th Jubilee since the destruction of the temple. There's all
Mhm.
kinds of things you can go through and match up, and we do have that on the website if anybody wants to look at it. The things that we have just matched up. There can be a lot more, and we've got people stepping up all the time telling us, little
Mhm.
tidbits that in there, which is great.
Could someone throw in a link in the chat for a particular place in the website to go to?
Yeah, I'll try to put one in there.
Yeah, tell us what the
Thanks.
website is, by the way. I have it on my site too, but it would be just as well if we could get it in here.
Restored Sevens calendar.
Say
That's
it one
me and
more.
Sarah's website. And I think Robert and Sherry have the links on their websites too.
Is this
Ours is
Tina?
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, I remember. We met a few years ago.
Yes, we kept a feast together.
Yes, we did. Again, it was garbled when you said the name of the website a little bit, at least in my sound. Could you do it one more time, please?
Restored Sevens, and that's a seven apostrophe S
Okay,
calendar.com.
thank you. Thank you.
I just posted the link there.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Robert.
Can I ask a question regarding the 294 years?
Yes.
Is the 294 duplicating creation week, or is it every six years that's creating that everything comes back to creation week?
Well,
Uh,
we
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm looking for the link. Another one. Paste. Boom. There's Prophecy Vine's website. So we believe this, whenever you have the full moon on the equinox on the day 4, we believe that's what that 4Q319 is saying. They're saying whenever you witness this, you're witnessing a creation week scenario. Because when you go back to Genesis 1 and you read the creation week and you get to day 4 when the luminaries were created, um, we don't believe the moon was created dark or a sliver. We believe it was a big supermoon because it was ruling the night, as Genesis 1 is telling us. So we believe the sons of Zadok in this 4Q319, they're saying whenever you see these things, equinox, day 4, full moon, you're in a creation week scenario.
Which was 2019,
Correct.
and then again 2026.
I don't think it's going to be exact. You're going to
Okay,
probably have a full moon near the equinox, but not dead on.
okay, thank
That's
you.
the kind of the prophecy part of it is that I know the Dead Sea Scroll translators kind of put it out there that every 294 years you'd have that same scenario, but that is not what the Dead Sea Scrolls say. That's just what they thought. So, because the moon falls behind 10 days each year, how often that scenario comes around, we don't know that yet. But
Okay,
we
I thought by because I've watched all the videos on both sites, I thought that it was the 294. So thanks for clearing that up for me.
sure.
Welcome.
All right, if there are no more questions, let's wrap it up. If you want a notification from me when the next ones will be, and you're not on the notification list, please let me know with your email address in the chat. We've had another opportunity to hear about the calendar, and that is next week, May the 11th, and we've got Dustin Hoffman coming on. So we would hope to have these once a month or once a quarter, but it seems like there is a popularity in this subject right now. So I wanted to make you aware of that if you're not already, that Dustin will be on next Sunday night, same time, same place again. And if there are other presenters, we can't get enough of it. So just let me know because it's all very interesting to me. And, most of us have a lot to learn. Got a lot.
Jackson,
Yes, sir.
I would like to ask one question if there's time.
There's time. Yeah.
Okay, yes, sir. My question is relative to Jubilees 6, verse 30. It says, all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks of days, and the entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets, and there is no neglecting for a single year or from year to year this commandment. So I'm wondering how that works into this additional week.
Well, the thing is, every calendar has to intercalate, no matter what. The mainstream Zadok calendars, they're the ones who I was kind of putting on the hot seat there, who jump around and chase the equinox week, year to year. They'll jump back, jump forward, and just try to maintain that Wednesday. So,
And I think you did a very good job at showing that that is not doable.
right. So that's the answer. Basically, every calendar has to intercalate. And from what we've seen from the Dead Sea Scrolls, these 6 years of priestly courses, we're just following their instructions that we don't see them intercalating for 6 whole years. And then we actually got to experience this in real time this year in 2025, where the calendar stopped on March 11th and we just paused with it. And then we added that 7 days back up to the next Wednesday on the 19th. We started again. The equinox was on the 19th. Some people recorded it on the 20th, but me personally, physically, did it. I saw the straight line shadow on the 19th. And like I said, many, many other people saw it on the 19th as well. So we added that 7 days and it put us right back on top of an equinox, which was pretty cool.
We mustn't forget that the priestly cycle doesn't intercalate. It's the calendar, the sun, that we're keeping in sync with the seasons. But the priestly cycles continues unbroken. And I think that's where some people are getting a little confused.
Very good.
Hi, Robert.
Yes.
Where are you seeing evidence of all the priests coming together to work at the same time during the intercalation week?
Well, that's something we're proposing as an idea, um, because we know that they would have come in during the feast days. Like you're going to have a mass influx of people on Sukkot, Passover, and one priestly family wouldn't be able to handle that. So there would have been many, probably all the priestly families on the feasts. So that's just a proposal and an idea to not make Gamul work 2 full weeks.
Yeah,
Right.
the head priests, not you'd have too many priests there, but they would take their turn every day during that week, the families. Yeah.
Yep.
We also
Oh,
see that
okay.
evidence. We see that evidence in Chronicles and the other where they're cleansing the temple and they're setting it up, and all the priests have to be there to help for the new year
Mm.
in the scriptures. So we have examples in the scriptures of that very thing.
Do you think that intercalation week was celebrated all week long somehow? Was it a big party, maybe like Sukkot or something?
Well, I mean, if you've got all the priests there, I'd if it was my family and they were up there, I'd be up there partying with them.
And I'm still trying to wrap my head around what John the Revelator saw when he was seeing the 24 elders around the throne. I mean, he just calls them elders and they have
Yeah,
crowns. I
yeah.
don't know what that looked like.
We know from the Dead Sea Scrolls that the mortal priesthood, the sons of Zadok, they felt and thought that they were actually working hand in hand with their angelic brothers. So I think the 24 elders are the 24 priestly families here. That's the type and shadow down here. But yeah, what that looks like, I'd love to meet one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, do they look like men? Do they look like cherub of some kind? I
Mm.
don't know. Thank
Someday,
you, Robert.
someday you'll see them.
Hmm.
Okay, folks, I thank you so much for coming out tonight. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, shalom, shalom.